Hi, welcome to my video on solve cubic rational equations, part 3. I made up this third video just to have some different equations, stressing some of the content that we had in the earlier units on quadratics and polynomials. So if you haven't, you look at these and you can't understand them, then it means that you have to make sure that you gone through the quadratic unit on the parabola, solving quadratic equations, and also solving cubic equations. So with the factoring. So here we go. Solve for x, some extra. These are a little bit different. I have the root isolated, so I'll cube each side. So that's x squared plus 20 equals, and that's 3 cubed. 3 times 3 is 9, is 27. X cubed is 27 minus 20. X cubed is 7. And the square root of x squared is plus minus the root of 7. Square root of x squared is x, so plus minus root 7. As I said, they're going to be a little bit different. And if you want to pause the video and work these out before I do, be my guest. And we have the root isolated, so we'll cube both sides. So that gives us x squared minus 2x. And 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Again, we got a quadratic, so we'll move the 8 to the left side, make it equal to 0. And notice we have an x squared as here. So an x squared means we'll have two possible answers. And so we have an x squared, so we have two possible answers. So this is hopefully factorable. Note that the product, this is a 1, so it's an a times c, so the product is negative 8, and the sum is negative 2. When you have a 1 right here, the product is on the end, the sum is in the middle. So x squared is x and x, and factors of 8 are 8 times 1 and 2 times 4, which pair of factors give you negative, or give you 2, so it's 2 and 4. But the product is negative, so it's got to be a positive and a negative number, and the sum got to be negative 2. So it has to be a plus 2 minus 4. Multiply. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. Add. You get the middle one, negative 2. So that means x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 equals 0. So x is equal to negative 2, or x is equal to 4. So if you sub both, if you take the 4 and sub in here, it'll work out. You take the negative 2 and sub in here, it will work out. So there's two possible answers. Number 3, notice we have the cube root on each side. So it's already isolated, so we'll cube each side. So the cube root is x squared plus x. The cube root cubed is an x plus 4. The x's cancel out because they're on each side. So x squared equals 4. The square root of x squared equals plus minus the root of 4. Square root of x squared is x plus minus 2. Again, if you sub 2 in the place of x, it'll be true. Put a negative 2 in the place of x, it'll come out to be true. Number 4, we have equal to 0, so we have to isolate the root. So the cube root of x squared is equal to 2x. Now, the root is isolated, so we'll cube both sides. So the cube root of x squared cubed is x squared. And 2x times 2x, so 2x times 2x times 2x is 8x cubed. Now, I could bring the 8 over, which I will, and leave the x there. Notice I have a cube and a square now. So I'll move the 8 over, 8x cubed to here and make it a negative. And that's not a negative, that's a plus. That moves over to become a negative, that's still positive. Now notice I have two terms and I have a x is common. But now I'm going to take the negative out because it's leading. And I have n x squared. X is common, but x squared is the GCF. Negative 8x cubed divided by negative x squared is just 8. Make sure I put the 8 there, 8x. And x squared divided by negative x squared is negative 1. So we have negative x squared equals 0, or we have 8x minus 1 equals 0. So if x squared equals 0, then x has to be equal to 0, because the square root. I could do this. Oh, let me do this first. Let's get rid of the negative by multiplying by negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. Negative times 0 is 0. Now I do the square root. And x equals square root of 0 is 0. So 8x equals 1 divided by 8. So x comes out to be 1/8. So the roots for this equation are 0 and 1/8. And you could argue that there's x cubed here, got 3 roots, but there's 2 zeros and 1/8. But 0 is a root and 1/8 is a root. Okay, let's continue. Now we have another one's a little bit different. And we have a cube root of 2x times the cube root of x plus 3 equals 2. So let's multiply the roots. Because they're cube roots, we can multiply them. So we get 2x times x plus 3. I'll just write that down first. And so that becomes the cube root of 2x squared plus 6x. The root is isolated, so we'll cube both sides. That's 2x squared plus 6x equals 8. So 2x squared plus 6x minus 8 equals 0, because we got a quadratic. We make it equal 0. Notice this time we have a 2, so I'll take the 2 out. 2 is a GCF. Remember, the first rule in factoring is always remove the common factor. So 2x squared divided by 2 is x squared. 6x divided by 2 is plus 3x. Negative 8 divided by 2 is 4. And because it's a quadratic, let's see if we can factor it. X squared is x times x. In fact, the product is negative 4. The sum is 3. There's a 1 here, so the product is right there, and the sum is there. What's the factors of 4? 4 times 1, 2 times 2. 2 times 2. So 4 and 1 has to work, because 2 and 2 will never give you a 3. The product is negative, and the sum is positive, so we got a positive 4 and a negative 1. Multiply. 4 times negative 1, negative 4, add. 4 and negative 1 is 3. Now, 2 has no bearing, so x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x minus 1 equals 0. You could, if we wanted to here, I could have divided by 2, but you can't say 2 equals 0. The roots are going to come from inside this bracket, inside here, not this one. So we can't say 0 equals 2. But if we did divide, so if I did this, if I divide both sides by 2, then I get x plus 4. They cancel out. Times x minus 1 equals 0. So the 2 is a constant, so we don't have to worry about it, we don't use it. The zeros are here, so x is equal to negative 4, or x is equal to 1. And again, so both of these back in here will come to be true. Number 6, we have two fractions again. Because we got two fractions, we're going to cross multiply. So cube root of x times the cube root of x minus 20 equals 5 times 1. We're cross multiplying, and notice I put this one in front. You could have this one times this, but I decided to put the cube root of x in front. So we'll multiply that, we get the cube root x times x. I'll just write that first. That's a 5. And that's the cube root. I could have wrote this down right away. The cube root. I just decided to put that x times x minus 20 here and then multiply it, but you could have gone from here right to here. Now I got the root isolated, so I'll cube. So x squared minus 20x. 5 cubed is 25 times 5 is 125. Again, we have a quadratic, so x squared minus 20x minus 125 equals 0. And what are the factors of 125? 125 is a 5, so 5 into 125 gives you 25, and 5 into 25 gives you 5. So I have a 25 times 5, so factor it, and 25 times 5 also differ by 20, so it's an x and an x. 125 is 25 times 5. The product is a negative 125, and the sum is a negative 20. So product is negative, so one got to be plus and one got to be minus. So negative 20, so the 25 is negative and the 5 is positive. Multiply. Negative 25 times 5, negative 125. Add. Sum, negative 20. So x minus 25 equals 0. X plus 5 equals 0. X equals 25. X equals minus 5. Again, notice we have a quadratic, x squared, so we have two answers. So you sub 25 back in here and work it out, or if you sub negative 5 in the place of x, both of them will be true. So that brings us to the end of this video. And again, if you like my video, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. And that's the content that's on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of some help to you. Bye-bye.